Before darkness had a name, heaven was a symphony, ordered entirely by love, and in that perfect harmony, one voice soared above many others. Lucifer. He wasn't born a monster. He was never created to be the adversary we know today. He was light itself, brilliant, beautiful, and deeply trusted. His presence was a mirror, perfectly reflecting the glory of his creator. His voice, a conduit for worship that echoed through the heavens. He was admired, celebrated, a masterpiece of creation. But deep within that perfection, a thought took root. It was a thought that had never existed before, a seed of discord in a universe of flawless accord. It started small, a whisper in the vastness of his own mind. Why do I only reflect the light when I could be the light? That single, simple question was the first breath of rebellion. It was the moment a crack appeared in the foundation of eternity. Let's be clear about something. Lucifer didn't begin with hatred for God. It wasn't a sudden, explosive rage. It began with a question. He questioned divine authority. He challenged the established order. He rejected his designated place in the grand design. Rebellion, you see, rarely starts with a roar. It begins with a quiet, stubborn refusal. The refusal to submit, the refusal to obey, the refusal to accept that our place, however glorious, is part of a larger, more beautiful picture. When Lucifer rose, he didn't just rise against a being. He rose against alignment itself. He wanted the freedom that comes with being a creature, but without the surrender it requires. He craved power, but without the obedience that grounds it. He desired glory, but a glory disconnected from its source, from God. His fall from that celestial height was as swift as it was tragic, a star plummeting from the sky. But even as he fell, his spirit, that core of defiance, remained unchanged. From that moment on, Lucifer became the ultimate symbol of rebellion. He is the voice that whispers into the ears of humanity, a timeless, tempting murmur. You don't have to listen to anyone. You know better. You deserve more than what you've been given. Those rules, they're just chains designed to hold you back. He champions the self, promotes pride, and sells the lie that absolute autonomy is the highest good. But here's the crucial part. Rebellion alone, as powerful as it is, could not completely shatter humanity. Breaking the rules is one thing. Ensuring they are never followed again is another. A single act of defiance can be corrected. A broken relationship can be mended. So, to ensure the fracture was permanent, a different force was sent into the world. After the earthquake of rebellion came the slow, creeping rot of corruption. This corruption is personified by a figure like Astaroth. Unlike Lucifer, he did not arrive with a thunderous declaration of war. He didn't come with fire and fury. He arrived with a comforting smile and a reasonable suggestion. He is the master of the plausible excuse. Where Lucifer shouts, defy, Astaroth gently murmurs, compromise. He doesn't tell souls to openly rebel. That's too direct, too messy. Instead, he teaches them to rot slowly, from the inside out. He is the artful negotiator who corrupts truth until it sounds almost indistinguishable from a lie. He takes your deeply held morals and gently bends them, never shattering them in one go, just warping them over time until their original shape is forgotten. He turns your unwavering convictions into flexible preferences. Is it really that big of a deal? He asks. Can't we find a middle ground? Let's not be so extreme. Think of it this way. Lucifer pulls people out of alignment with God in a single, dramatic moment of choice. Astaroth's job is to keep them there, to make sure they never find their way back. He does this by dulling their conscience, by numbing their spiritual senses until the quiet voice of truth is completely drowned out by the noise of compromise and convenience. So, Lucifer creates the wars, the grand, epic battles of ideology and will. Astaroth, on the other hand, creates the decay, the slow, silent erosion of culture, family, and faith. Lucifer makes men and women stand up and declare, I will not serve. Astaroth makes them shrug their shoulders and say, honestly, it doesn't even matter anymore. Together, they form a perfect, destructive cycle. The rebellion, instigated by Lucifer, breaks the foundation. It shatters the initial trust and obedience. Then, the corruption, orchestrated by Astaroth, seeps into the cracks. It ensures that the foundation is never properly rebuilt. It convinces us that the broken state is normal, that the ruins are actually a new, more progressive form of architecture. Lucifer tempts the leaders, the visionaries, the powerful, to rise and build their kingdoms without God. He appeals to their ambition and their pride. Astaroth, meanwhile, tempts the rest of society to simply forget God entirely. He doesn't need a grand gesture of defiance from the masses. He just needs their apathy. He just needs them to be too distracted, too comfortable, or too busy to care. The rebellion of one becomes the apathy of millions. And for millennia, this cycle of rebellion and corruption is spun, seemingly unstoppable, dragging humanity further and further into darkness. It seemed like a perfect strategy, a flawless trap. And yet, neither of them, not the great rebel nor the master corrupter, could overcome the cross. In one historic earth-shattering moment, the entire strategy was undone, because the rebellion of Lucifer was crushed by the perfect obedience of Christ, and the corruption of Astaroth was washed clean by the absolute truth of Christ. Jesus did the very thing that Lucifer refused to do. He submitted. Though he was God, he emptied himself, taking the form of a servant. He humbled himself and became obedient, even to the point of death on a cross. He willingly placed himself under the Father's authority, demonstrating that true power is found not in self-exaltation, but in surrendered love. And he did what Astaroth despised. He purified. He didn't compromise with sin. He didn't negotiate with darkness. He didn't bend the moral law. He confronted it, named it, and paid for it. A is the why, the truth, and the life. And in his presence, all the gray areas, all the reasonable compromises, are exposed for the deceptions they are. Where Lucifer fell by exalting himself, Jesus triumphed by humbling himself. And where corruption spread through a million tiny compromises, salvation came through one ultimate sacrifice. The path to glory was not up, but down. The way to victory was not through seizing power, but through laying it down. This is why, to this day, the spirit of rebellion trembles at the sight of true, humble obedience. It cannot comprehend it. It has no defense against it. Pride cannot defeat humility. This is why corruption flees from genuine holiness. The slow rot of compromise cannot survive in the purifying light of unbending truth. So yes, Lucifer represents rebellion. Astaroth represents corruption. They are two sides of the same counterfeit coin, a powerful and destructive force in our world and in our own hearts. But Christ represents restoration. He is the answer to both. He restores what rebellion broke, and he cleanses what corruption has stained. And in the end, this is the promise that echoes through eternity: rebellion will bow, corruption will burn away, and the truth, the pure, uncompromised, and unconquerable truth, will stand forever, untouched. Thanks for watching.